Everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Digital Forge Broadcast Network this lovely Tuesday evening. We're at Kansas Motor Speedway for 125 laps of Gen 6 action. As requested by the league tonight, we decided to funk things up and provide some great music here for the Wounded Warrior Cup Series returning this Tuesday night. Drivers will be set to go qualifying in about 5 minutes, but right now, we are going to move to the Star Spangled Banner by the most patriotic rock band out there today, and that is Madison Racing. Hope you enjoy it, folks. When we come back, we got some racing for you.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the free?
Are you ready? Showtime. One, two, three, four. More bang for your buck.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital Forge Broadcast Network this Tuesday night. I'm Dustin Caldwell. Thanks for tuning in. We've got 125 laps coming at you with the Anarchy Motorsports Series and their Wounded Warrior Cup Series back in action this Tuesday night. Taking a look at the points, it is Dalton Baldwin still your series leader, just 11 points ahead of Glenn Murphy Jr., Philip Neese, Chris Ostrander, Randy Arms, rounding out your top 5. Extending on down to the top 10, we have Thomas Conheady, Clay Dildine, Tim Sandlin, Craig Embry, Mike Springer, and back in 11th, Stuart Joyce. Coming off of a win last week, folks, Cameron Hearn was the return of the Hearn at Talladega last Tuesday. He came back in style with a victory. Let's see if he can do a repeat here at Kansas. A little bit of race information for you while the drivers are qualifying. On your screen, 1.5-mile track here tonight. 69 degrees in the air, 64% humidity, mostly cloudy. With a 69-degree temperature down on the pavement. And again, the music tonight, a little bit of funky style is requested by the league, so we like to honor the league's wishes in the type of music that they want. So they wanted a little funky music this Tuesday night to get things going, and they got it. So we've funked things up here so far in Kansas, and we're about to go racing for 125 laps. Gen 6 between the Ford Fusion, the Chevy SS, and the Toyota Camry will be battling it out. Just a reminder, folks, if you are interested in what Digital Forge Broadcasting Network is about, you can find us on the web at forgebroadcasting.com or else on Facebook. You can find us there at facebook.com/Digital Forge Broadcasting. Like us on Facebook and also subscribe out there on YouTube. That way you'll stay in the know as to when we go live. We are currently in the search for a couple of leagues, possibly short track leagues coming up on Wednesdays and Thursday nights. Got a forum post out there. If you know anybody that runs a short track league on iRacing, make sure you tell them to get on over to our website and check it out at forgebroadcasting.com. Go to our contact page. They can submit some information there as we're looking to fill our Wednesdays and Thursday night slots. Coming up on Friday is the Super Speedway Showdown Series. It's the last of the series, the 6-race series between the Loose Lugnuts KMA TWC VM leagues. 3 leagues, folks, in one. Battling it out at Daytona in the Xfinity Series, and we'll see if Justin Michael has what it takes to be able to take home victory this coming Friday. So we take a look. Still some time to go, but it does look like Cameron Hearn is setting the fast time here tonight. Brian Bloom making a debut in the 93 car. And Clay Dildine, your top 3 fastest cars so far. Once qualifying does complete, we'll get you down to that grid and show you where these drivers are at this evening. It's going to be a hectic race. Coming up next week will be the Dover race. That's 1 week before May 17th. On May 17th is the All-Star race. The Anarchy Motorsports Series put out a poll as to where they want their drivers, so that track is still to be determined at this point in time. We'll have that for you next week. Taking a look down there, it looks like the drivers have completed their qualifying times. So they are going to make their way down to the grid. So starting on the pole here tonight, running an Adidas scheme. I'm sure that'll change down the road. Trading Paints is a software program that allows them to have custom paint jobs. And right now, Cameron Hearn's running that Adidas scheme. He may be his scheme here tonight, but that number 67 will be starting on the pole to the outside. The number 93, Brian Bloom, making a debut here tonight. The Florida driver will sit to the outside of that first row. Starting inside lane of that second row, the number 24 of Clay Dildine, this Great Plains driver. 20 years DuPont, Jeff Gordon, a tribute paint scheme there. Hence the number as well. Will be starting third position. We are waiting for our fourth place driver to come out to the grid before we move right along. There will be only one lap of pacing because this is a larger than 1 mile track. Looks like they're finally getting their way off the grid, and there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the 22 of Stuart Joyce, and that Bounty Quicker Picker Upper Cheetah paint scheme. Just in time for the pace car to roll off. This Indiana driver will start in fourth position. Number 42, I'm too hastily on that number, I believe it's the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. will be starting in rounding out your top 5 here tonight. To his outside, you got that 83 car. That's Nick Dykstra, the third Michigan driver, rolls off the grid in 6th position. And as the cars begin pacing their way through the first couple of turns, they'll bunch back up. We'll try to get you through the top 10 here tonight. Looking back in 7th position, number 1 of Kevin, supposed to be the number 1 car, but actually I believe it's the number 7 of Thomas Conheady back there in 7th position. At Nationwide Chevrolet, the New York driver will start in 7th. Looks like we got a 58 of Jonathan Schwartz back there in 8th. 38 of Philip Neese back there in 9th, and rounding out your top 10, ladies and gentlemen, the 23 of David McMahon in that Dr. Pepper Toyota Camry. Green flag is in the air. Here we go. First lap into turn number 1. There is the 67 of Cameron Hearn. Making his way through turn number 2 into the back straightaway, leads the 93 of Brian Blum, who is in 2nd position. Stuart Joyce back there in 3rd is ahead of the number 7 of Thomas Conheady. And that Nationwide Chevrolet right in front of the 83 of Nick Dykstra. And look at that side-by-side action. Coming across the start-finish line, the 24 of Clay Dildine back in 6th position. See a nice little gap now as we take a look back up at the Cameron Hearn 67 car as it heads into turn number 3. Using that apron as they come across the front stretch into turn number 1. Hear the scream of those engines as they came by close. And now Stuart Joyce and Brian Blum. Looks like Cameron Hearn had some issues coming out of turn number 2. Brian Blum, the 93 car. And that Ford Fusion through the 4th turn, coming down the front stretch. Into the trioval he goes, and he takes the race lead here on lap number 5. Stuart Joyce. Oh, he's going to get into the wall in turn number 2. He's coming down. Cameron Hearn almost made a little bit of contact there with the 22 of Stuart Joyce. Joyce able to edge back away, but still continues to flirt with that wall in turns 3 and 4. And some 3 wide almost action as Conheady up to the high side. The 83, Nick Dykstra, the 3rd, right behind him. To the inside, Clay Dildine falls back, and he continues to fall back as now the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. takes the high side, and he's going to get loose. Murphy Jr.
Caution is out.
Sideways in turn number 3 will get spun around, and that's going to bring out the first caution flag of the night. Let's go back and take a look at that replay camera on Glenn Murphy Jr. We happened to see it live, but he did get loose heading into turn number 3. And take a look at that freeze frame shot there, the 83 of Dykstra up in the wall. So coming out of turn number 2, there's the pass on Dildine. And right there, just went sideways into turn number 3 and just trying to correct it. Look how it's almost like a dirt move, drift kind of move into turn number 3. And Murphy Jr. is going to get spun around, especially making that contact with the apron at the angle it was. It's like hitting ice, and around goes that 48 Jimmy Johnson Tribute Lowe's Chevrolet. Caution flag comes out on lap number 8, folks. This is the Wounded Warrior Cup Series here on the Digital Forge Broadcast Network. We'll take a short commercial break, and we'll be back right after a few messages.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate in races ranging from 3 hours to 24 hours. Additional partners include NASCAR, IMSA, V8 Supercars, IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own 24 hours of Spa, Bathurst 1000, Daytona 500, and many more. iRacing.com, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car.
Oh boy, get ready for some noise. Gentlemen, start your engines.
AMSLeague.com is the premier iRacing league for action-packed racing from green to checkered. Prepare yourself to start every week right with the AMSLeague.com Wounded Warrior Project Cup Series, Tuesday nights at 9:20 Eastern Time, right here exclusively on the Digital Forge Broadcasting Network. You will not find a better connected oval league and community in the iRacing service. AMSLeague.com provides the highest level of competitive racing while holding true to our Have Fun First motto. Prepare yourself for the best Tuesday night oval racing on Sim Racing Earth at AMSLeague.com. Also, check out our Monday Night Truck Series and Wednesday IndyCar Series. And remember, you can watch all of our Wounded Warrior Project Cup Series races live, right here on the Digital Forge Racing Network. AMSLeague.com. A premier iRacing league with a great group of drivers.
Welcome back to Kansas. Lights off the pace car. We're going to be set to go green on lap number 11. Up front, it is Chris Ostrander, the 73 Budweiser car. Will be taking us back to green. Has the 93 of Brian Bloom to the outside. This is the Wounded Warrior Cup Series Anarchy Motorsports Series League this Tuesday night. Pace car set to go into the pits, coming out of turn number 4. There it goes. Green flags back in the air, and here we go. As they come across the start-finish line, working their way into turn number 1, the 93 of Bloom's going to go down to the lower groove. It's kind of a new groove we're seeing run here tonight. Most of the guys to the high side, and now Ostrander with the momentum out of turn number 2. Works his way down the backstretch towards turn number 3, and here comes Brian Bloom. Craig Embry now, the 87 car you see there with the yellow rims, making its way through turn 4 to the low side. Will take the apron through the front stretch. Nearly got some grass there. And a caution flag comes out. And it looks like a couple cars. There is Thomas Conheady, that number 7 car involved. And can't really tell the manufacturer on that one. It's crunched. We go back and take a look at the replay and see exactly what happened here. So there it is. The 74 is going to get Conheady loose. That infamous 74 car of Vern Bradley. And look at Conheady get some airtime down the front stretch. Was pulling close to a Chris Buescher at Talladega last week if you tuned into the Sprint Cup Series. Wow. And just around and around. No wonder the car had the damage. You can see the 74 of Vern Bradley smoking there as he goes to the inside of Conheady. Right before turn number 1. Finally, the car comes to rest on all fours. And on lap 14, we are back under the yellow, folks. It's a tough track to figure out. These guys have got a night for them. 125 laps, the docket, 15 down. And more to come, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, this Tuesday night. Lights off the pace car as they head through turns 2 into the back straightaway. It's going to be the 93 of Brian Bloom taking us back green. They'll be to the inside of Stuart Joyce up there up front. Pace car set to take them in the pits. This time around, and there it goes. The green flag's back in the air, and there goes Bloom. Another caution flag come out. My goodness. Turns 3 and 4. Stuart Joyce involved in that one as he's still taking the shortcut to pit road. Coming across the grass. See the quicker picker upper picked up a lot of damage. Let's go back and take a look at the replay coming off of turn 3 at the restart. And right there already you're going to see Stuart Joyce getting really loose. 87 of Craig Embry, the 32 of Mike Springer to the high side. And Craig Embry able to get by with no contact. You're going to see the 22 of Joyce come down to the apron. Saw this on our Crank It Up cam brought to you by Ryan Eckstein. There is the number 4, your series points leader, Dalton Baldwin, making a pass through. And Joyce is now going to climb the track. But in doing so, he's going to get loose again. And there is the 23 of McMahon there in the Dr. Pepper Camry. And Joyce is just going to make some slight contact to get McMahon loose. McMahon's going to go down to the apron, and Joyce going to pick up some contact with that wall. Front end collision with that wall. Here comes 73 of Ostrander in the Budweiser Chevrolet. And he's going to have a nice little ARCA brake action into him. Front end contact. And wow, take a look at Kevin Trzynski's Fago car. Coming through already as a Tour Modified. And Clay Dildine rolls the dice and just a little bit of a nudge to say, hey, I'll help you out there, guy. Clay Dildine helping out Stuart Joyce to keep from spinning. And wow, that Cheetah car has picked up a lot of damage. Take a look. The Ford Fusion there, the yellow car, that is, I believe, the 38 of Philip Neese. Got a lot of front end damage. So turns 3 and 4, folks, are going to be the ones to watch for here tonight. So as we watch the cars pacing around, it looks like the 93 of Brian Bloom, unaffected here, might have the golden setup. See if we can get him on the line. We're going to bring in Brian Bloom in that 93 Ford Fusion. One of the guys who's been up front all night. Let's go down and see if we can get him on the line for you. Brian Bloom, this is Dustin Caldwell in the booth. Are you there? Looking for that 93 of Brian Bloom. This is Dustin Caldwell in the booth. Are you there?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good from a slick track condition here tonight. A lot of guys getting loose in turns 3 and 4. You look like you're the only one that's unaffected by it. Tell us, how is that car handling?
It's handling pretty good so far. It'd be nice to get a couple green flag laps under our belts and see how everything unfolds.
Sounds like it's good. You'll have Craig Embry to the outside. Is there any shout-outs you want to give while we got you on the line?
I just want to thank everyone for catching us tonight, and look forward to putting on a show.
All right. Well, thanks for the time there, Brian, and best of luck in the laps to come, bud.
Thanks.
There you go, folks. The 93 of Brian Bloom, Florida driver here tonight, started to the outside of the pole sitter in second position. You can see the lights off the pace car. His fast lap time tonight, 29.28. Led 11 laps. He'll be taking us back green on lap number 23. Again, folks, this is the Wounded Warrior Cup Series Anarchy Motorsports Series League this Tuesday night. Appreciate you tuning in. You can always find us on the web at forgebroadcasting.com. Pace car will be set to go into the pits coming out of turn number 4. And there it goes. Green flag's back in the air, and here goes Brian Bloom. They head towards turn number 1. Brian Bloom out to the race lead. Again, folks, those beautiful wall cams brought to you by Ryan Eckstein. Got to give that guy a shout out. Does some great job putting together some camera package to be able to show you the action and how close these guys are getting to these walls. Bloom making his way out of turn number 4 leads the 87 of Craig Embry. Back behind Craig Embry, ladies and gentlemen, is your series points leader. And that double colored paint scheme, that is Dalton Baldwin. Tim Matthews, the number 53 car, the UK Kentucky car, right in front of the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr., who's going to round out your top 5 here on lap 25. And as they make their way down the front stretch, you can see the 48 of Murphy Jr. using that apron. Bloom out to a half a second lead, almost over the 87 of Craig Embry.
All right, man, caution is
and
out.
Another caution flag's going to come out. And we're going to see some damage there on Cameron Hearn's car. Stuart Joyce unaffected by this one. Taking a look at Philip Neese. So let's go back and take a look at Cameron Hearn and see what happened to our pole sitter here tonight. And already you could take a look at this and see some cars down there on the apron. One can only imagine what exciting things this replay is going to show us. So there is the 66 who we saw on the apron come right back up the track and into Cameron Hearn. That is John Joyce in that Castrol GTX 66. Hearn's going to get majorly up in the wall. Joyce, amazingly, is going to be able to save the car. Got a little bit loose, but he's going to bring it back around and keep it on wraps as he heads towards that apron. But it is the 67, excuse me, of Cameron Hearn with a lot of front end damage. Coming off of a win next week, not looking too hopeful tonight. there for the 67 of Cameron Hearn. This is the Wounded Warrior Cup Series Anarchy Motorsports Series League this Tuesday night here on the Digital Forge Broadcast Network. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we got some more racing for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Some noise. Gentlemen, start your engines.
AMSleague.com is the premier iRacing league for action-packed racing from green to checkered. Prepare yourself to start every week right with the AMSleague.com Wounded Warrior Project Cup Series, Tuesday nights at 9:20 Eastern Time, right here exclusively on the Digital Forge Broadcasting Network. You will not find a better connected oval league and community in the iRacing service. AMSleague.com provides the highest level of competitive racing while holding true to our Have Fun First motto. Prepare yourself for the best Tuesday night oval racing on Sim Racing Earth at AMSleague.com. Also, check out our Monday Night Truck Series and Wednesday IndyCar Series. And remember, you can watch all of our Wounded Warrior Project Cup Series races live, right here on the Digital Forge Racing Network. AMSleague.com. A premier iRacing league with a great group of drivers.
Welcome back to Kansas. Lights off the pace car. Going to be going back green on lap number 31. There goes the pace car. Green flags in the air. Here we go. Nice little gearbox view of your race leader, the 93 of Brian Bloom. Take a look at the use of that apron coming through. Just see the gap, and you can hear how these guys have to get off heading into turns 1 and 2, lifting. Oh, and there goes Craig Embry. He's going to get snapped loose. '87 of Craig Embry, and you can just see how loose these guys are getting. Trzynski got a fast repair. That Fago car is back in action. Oh, and there goes Trzynski to the inside. Got into the grass, but he's able to bring it back out. lot of style points for these drivers here tonight. This Michigan driver here started 12th, currently running 13th. Mike Springer to the high side. Wow. 38 of Philip Neese to the high side of Mike Springer as they head down towards turn number 1. Springer's going to push really high in turns 1 and 2. Embry now to the high side of Chris Ostrander, or should I say Turtle Ostrander. Got that nickname from Martinsville. Nice little side-by-side battle coming out of turn number 2. And Springer now wants to join the action. He'll be to the high side of Ostrander before turn number 3. And Springer and Ostrander side by side in a battle for 8th position here on lap 35, now lap 36. Ostrander takes the apron and he's going to lose a couple positions as now Philip Neese, the 38, is going to go high. And David McMahon will be right behind him. And now to the inside, and look at the 23 of McMahon in that Dr. Pepper Camry. To the inside of Chris Ostrander. Ostrander now falls back to 11th position here on lap 36. Up front, finally, somebody challenging Brian Bloom for the race lead here on lap 37. It's the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. in that Jimmy Johnson Lowe's tribute paint scheme. And he's going to look to the inside coming out of turn number 2. And here goes the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. for the race lead. Down the back stretch into turn number 3. Split in the middle groove to the high side, the 93 of Brian Bloom. Murphy Jr. now will come down taking... No, he's not going to take that apron. And look at Brian Bloom take back the race lead, that 93. Adamant about winning here tonight as we show you his race information right there. This Florida driver, 27 laps led, a lot of it under the caution here tonight as we've had a few. Let's take a look at the race statistics. Speaking of, 37 laps completed, 4 lead changes and 4 total cautions. And here comes the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. once again. Now will choose the apron. This time around, and Dalton Baldwin, your series points leader, to the high side of Brian Bloom. And it's going to be a 3-way battle for the race lead. And it looks like Brian Bloom is going to choose the conservative route and go back to 3rd position as Murphy Jr. and Baldwin are going to battle for the race lead here on lap 39. Baldwin definitely loving that high side. Oh, and a little contact coming out of turn number 4 down the front stretch. Dalton Baldwin's going to look to set Murphy Jr. up for an inside pass, possibly in turns 1 and 2. And here he goes. Murphy Jr. up towards the wall. No contact. He'll save the lead here on lap 40. And look at that momentum he carried out of turn number 2 down towards turn number 3 now. Glenn Murphy Jr. out to about a 0.3 of a second lead over Dalton Baldwin, but the 4 car is rallying back. Down the front stretch, clicking over into lap 41. Here comes Dalton Baldwin. I can tell you, anybody who's going to that lower groove is going to lose some momentum. That's what we saw this 4 car do last lap, and it cost him. Now he's back to 0.3 of a second behind Murphy Jr. Brian Bloom, guy who's led a lot of laps here tonight, now sitting in 3rd position as this 48 car of Murphy Jr. has just come out of nowhere and taken that lead by storm. Back in 4th position as we take a look at the 24 DuPont Chevrolet in that Jeff Gordon paint scheme. That is Clay Dildine, guy who started 3rd here tonight, been plagued by getting loose a few times, but is able to hold on to 4th position here. Just about 2.5 seconds behind your race leader. Behind him, Nick Dykstra, the 3rd. As he heads into turns 1 and 2, you can see this 83 car. Another Michigan driver here tonight. Started 6th position. He's gained 1 position here in the first 43 laps of this race. Mike Springer now on the move. This California driver started 11th. He's up 5 positions. Works his way into turns 1 and 2. I tell you what, folks, we finally got some green flag laps going on. Looks like these drivers have figured out the grooves on the track. As we see Philip Neese back there in 9th position and Chris Ostrander in 10th. Back up to the race lead as the 48 of Murphy Jr. works his way into turns 1 and 2. You can definitely tell the high line is working for him. Murphy Jr. right behind Dalton Baldwin. So what a great battle it is here tonight, folks. The 48 of Murphy Jr. second in the points, 11 points behind Dalton Baldwin, the number 4 car that's currently running in 2nd position. Again, next week, the Wounded Warrior Cup Series moves into Dover to the Monster Mile. Pretty much follows the NASCAR Sprint Cup circuit schedule. Just ahead, as they will be at Kansas this Sunday. And you now see Dalton Baldwin closing the gap here on lap 47. Just about a 1/10 of a second behind the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. as they come out of turn number 2 into the back straightaway. And it looks like that 4 car got just a little bit loose coming out of turn number 2. Really pushing it here, trying to get that rear draft to work for him. Getting word now that Cameron Hearn, the 67, our pole sitter here tonight, definitely has put his car in the hauler. John Henry Allen, Jesse Johnson, Tim Sandlin, also guys who started here tonight, put their cars in the hauler as well. Scott Tucker said he's got his car in the garage. Could possibly see a return. He's currently 9 laps down. And we see Dalton Baldwin get into the wall there. So now the gap between him and Murphy Jr. is going to be extended up to 4/10 of a second here on lap 49. Stuart Joyce, the Indiana driver who got loose for a couple of cautions. Right there behind the 74 of Vern Bradley, who's to the inside of McMahon. I'll take you down to, let's go down and take a look at David McMahon there, the Dr. Pepper machine. Take you off of the bumper of him. As you can just follow Stuart Joyce in that Ford Fusion Bounty Cheetah print car, taking that apron. You can just see the battle. Oh, take a look at that as we're inside of Joyce's car. Coming out of turn number 2. Just shows you how quick these guys can get some momentum and how quick they can lose it depending upon the grooves they are running. And Craig Embry to the high side of Vern Bradley. Oh, he's going to get pinched up to the wall. Craig Embry, one of the late race drivers you'll see here in this league. Started 19th, he's up 8 positions, excuse me. There's Kevin Trzynski. A little bit of issues there on his car tonight. The Craig Embry is going to be a guy you're going to want to watch later half of this race. We've seen him up in the top 5 already tonight. Imagine he'll work his way back up there. There is Kevin Trzynski, a Michigan driver. Got into some trouble early on in the race. Currently sitting in last position, 21st position tonight. Last car running as he now surpasses Scott Tucker, who has put his car in the hauler. What a battle back here towards the back of the field. Running a new paint scheme tonight, Lance Carpenter normally runs a retro Dale Earnhardt Sr. paint scheme, a Wrangler yellow and blue, has given that up for a Pepsi, retro 80s Pepsi paint scheme on that car. Looks really solid out there.
All right, man, caution is out. Caution is out.
And we've got another caution. Take a look around the field. Another guy has changed up his paint scheme here tonight. Kelly Blue Book Chevrolet of Michael Tant normally runs a 3M paint scheme. A lot of cars making their way down pit road. So it's going back and taking a look. It looks like somebody got just a little bit loose but was able to recover. No damage on any cars. And getting the wave around right there, John Ollis. Now I'm giving this guy some focus and a quick camera time on this Livewire 14 Chevrolet because I call him Ailes and I got corrected tonight. By all people, his mother corrected me. Said it's Ollis, not Ailes, Ollis. So the Texas driver, I do apologize to you, John. We got your name right here tonight, John Ollis, and that number 14 Chevrolet running that Mountain Dew Livewire paint scheme. So we're following Clay Dildine up front here. We're going to bring in Mr. Cameron Hearn, get some perspective on what happened in his crash and as well as the track handling here tonight on his car as his car has been put away in the hauler. Cameron, tell us. It looked like it was a loose night for a lot of drivers and yourself especially. Got early on some damage. You sat on the pole here tonight. Looked really solid coming into the race. And unfortunately, things didn't go your way to give you the chance at a back-to-back victory from your return 1 week ago.
Yeah, the track condition was definitely loose on fresh tires. I kind of got loose 1 and 2, fell back to third, and with the cycling of pits, guys taking 2 tires, no tires staying out, I kind of got forced into the back, and then I don't know who it was. I believe it was John got loose on the apron. I kind of checked up a little bit, but obviously not enough or not fast enough. So. I already used 1 fast repair, so that was the end of it for me. But it's a tough track to race at. I think at the end, we got a long green run like we're having. I feel like tires can be a key factor, and who's willing to kind of throw the car in there, see if it sticks to pull off the slide job.
Well, was there any particular points of the track that seemed to concern you early on as you went through your first few set of laps before the caution?
Yeah, definitely. In entry in both corners, turn 1 and turn 3, if you get off too early or driving it too far, you're gonna either get super loose, which I did at the beginning of the run, or you're gonna get tight because there's a bump in 1, and if you drive it in there real hard, you'll hit the bump and kind of send the car right against the wall. So you can kind of save it on fresh tires, but if you got a couple laps on the tires, you're going to be in the wall, which I've seen a lot of people, especially coming off the corners, get into the wall. So I think whoever keeps the cars clean is going to have a good chance of winning the race.
Well, as the light comes off the pace car, we got Glenn Murphy Jr. and Dalton Baldwin, your 2 series points leaders, battling it out in this race. If you had to make a prediction, who are you going to root for?
I'll keep my opinion to myself. I
Spoken like a true driver right there, folks.
I just hope that whoever wins the race, it's a competitive race, and it's last couple laps you don't know who's going to win. So I'm looking forward to end of the race, not really knowing who's going to win, and at least a couple people have a chance.
Is there anybody you want to give a shout out?
Yeah, it sucks at Peachtree Pools and Spa. I feel like every time we run them as our sponsor, we always have some bad luck. But I want to get a win for them on the car. But that's really about it. I guess my friends and family, some of them watch the race and broadcast, but also AMS for putting on the league every week. I know a lot of work and time goes into everything, not just the racing aspect, but in terms of the website management, and what you do with broadcast. A lot of work goes in behind the scenes than people realize.
All right, Cameron, thank you much for your time, buddy, and we'll see you next week at Dover.
All right, Dustin, see you later, man. Thanks.
Green flags back in the air, ladies and gentlemen, and they are on the move. Glenn Murphy Jr., your race leader, still has Dalton Baldwin behind him. Let's take a look at the top five. In your bottom left, Glenn Murphy Jr., Dalton Baldwin, Tim Matthews, Mike Springer, and Craig Embry are your current top five here on lap 60. Getting close to the halfway point of tonight's race. Tim Matthews now in third position. Craig Embry approaching from fourth. Mike Springer making his way down towards turn number one. The gap between 5 and 6 in sixth position is Chris Ostrander, the 73 Budweiser Chevrolet. Down the backstretch towards turn number 3. He's picked up 6 total laps led under some cautions here tonight. The Florida driver currently about 2.2 seconds behind your race leader. So the battle still continues with your top 2 in points. The number 4 car back there in second position, Dalton Baldwin. Currently your series points leader, just 11 points ahead of this guy right here, the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr., who has now led a total of 23 laps here tonight. Coming out of turn number 4, and we've got another caution flag. And possibly, maybe on Kevin Trzynski. Let's go take a look, and he's down on pit road. And he was already on pit road, so not coming from Trzynski. We'll follow Mr. Jana Aliz. See if we can see any cars possibly spun out. Doesn't look like it. It looks like these guys are just getting so loose for a short amount of time and able to regain it, but it's enough for race control to throw out the flag and put them back under yellow. As we come back to real time, right behind the pace car, the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. getting the help with these yellow flags. Let's see if we can pull in our race director of the evening. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk to this guy and get his perspective. He's the guy that's directing them around the field. Ryan Cobb, this is Dustin Caldwell. Are you there?
Yeah, I got a copy. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Tonight has got to be definitely one of those nights where you are earning your keep, sir. A lot of cautions here so far at Kansas in the first 64 laps of this race. Tell us what you see from your perspective.
It looks like another tough race out there for the guys. The setup, again, is not cooperating like some of them like. We had a really, really good green flag run, though. Expecting here in the next couple runs to have another one. I'm going to make a prediction that these guys will get it all together. We'll have at least one green flag pit stop tonight, and that's really going to throw some strategy in. So we're kind of winding or weeding out the field a little bit, and we're going to have a good run here coming up here shortly.
Is there any predictions from the race control booth that we can talk about tonight? As far as if you had to pick a top 5, throwing names out there, no bias, just strictly from what you're seeing here tonight. Give us a few cars that you'd put in your top 5.
Well, I don't know if I can pick the top 5 exactly, but there's already been some incidents with some guys who usually run up front today, so I think you're going to see a couple of the usuals up there, but I wouldn't be surprised if some late strategy played in and we got a couple new names up in the top 5 we haven't seen this season.
All right, well, a very political answer from the race director there, Ryan. Thank you much for your time, and I'll let you get back to it, sir.
Yep, thank you so much.
There you have it, race director Ryan Cobb for you, folks. Earning his keep here tonight with these cautions. I'll show you the race statistics in your bottom left. 64 laps completed. They're on lap 65 now. Out of the 125, 7 lead changes, 6 total cautions. A very slick track here indeed. Some drivers talked about in practice being able to flat foot, as they say, or keep the pedal to the metal going around these turns. A lot of drivers, your veteran drivers, knowing that you're going to have to let off the gas. And as you watch them come into the turns, you're going to see some flames shoot out from the exhaust. That's them letting off the gas. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's a good symbol that these guys have to let off to make it around these turns. Lights come off that pace car. We're going to be back green on lap 67. It is the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. taking us back green with his counterpart Dalton Baldwin up to the high side. The battle of the top 2 slots in points continues when we go back green. Pace car will be set to go into the pits as they're now entering turn 3. Pace car, there it goes. Murphy Jr. and Baldwin up front, and the green flag's back in the air. Here we go. Saw a little bit of looseness out of Craig Embry going into turn number 3. Turn number 3 has just been a loose spot all night for a lot of these drivers. Embry, who was up in the top 5, has fallen back to 9th position here on lap 68. And the battle continues now as Dalton Baldwin has closed the gap to 1/10 of a second behind the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. Into the front stretch they go. Baldwin will use the apron to his advantage. Picks up 2/100ths of a second. He is now up on the bumper, but he's going to push it just a little bit high as Murphy Jr. is going to come down a little bit in turn number 2. And look at the aggressive move from Tim Matthews now, that UK car to the inside of Dalton Baldwin. Matthews trying to be aggressive in the backstretch, not going to work out for him before the turn. Here he's going to use the apron. And it looks like Baldwin is just going to be that much quicker to extend the gap over Tim Matthews. Stuart Joyce down to the apron. Another car who's been really loose here tonight. This Indiana driver has been plagued. Was up in the top 5. Falls back to 13th position. Battling side by side now with Michael Tan. Brian Bloom currently in 4th position. A guy who led a lot of laps early on. The 93 Florida driver currently sitting in 4th position, about 1.2 seconds off your race leader. Had a total of 27 laps led so far in this race. A guy running another new paint scheme back there in 9th position. Fred Scarfy, the New England driver. Started 13th position here on the grid, and he's making his way through. As now Craig Embry's going to get loose down there on the apron. And Scarfy will pass to the high side. Bass Pro Shops 58, Jonathan Swartz will be behind Embry, and to the inside now, Thomas Conheady looking to possibly get around Schwartz. Schwartz will go to the high side, running in 13th position. Back up to the race lead. Tim Matthews now able to get around Dalton Baldwin, and look at the aggression on this 53 car. Tim Matthews is going to try to pass. He's making it look like it's a short track out there. This 53 UK Chevrolet on the move to Glenn Murphy Jr. And wow, this guy, if he's got a setup dialed in, it's working for him here on lap 74. And look at the front 4 as they make their way across the start-finish line. Nobody takes the apron as Bloom is back there behind Baldwin. And now Matthews is going to try the inside of Murphy Jr. coming out of turn number 2. It's almost looking like a drag race, but that 48 car is going to hold solid into turn number 3, and now Dalton Baldwin is going to pick up a little bit of a gap on Tim Matthews. Matthews is going to choose the apron as well as Baldwin. So Bloom and Murphy Jr. stay on the track. Take a look how quickly the differences are now as Matthews is still trying on the second turn. We've seen it for a few laps now. Trying to set up for an inside pass, but that high line is just looking solid, and Glenn Murphy Jr. has got to be happy with that continued line that he is running, keeping him out to the race lead. As we're now under 50 laps to go as they cross the start-finish line. 49 remain in this evening's race. Side by side they go. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this front 4 as it almost had Brian Bloom to the inside of Baldwin, but Baldwin now will be to the inside, and look at the looseness that Brian Bloom got. The 93 Ford Fusion coming off of turn number 4 got really loose, but it didn't affect him too much as he's able to pick up the gap on Tim Matthews, and now Matthews to the inside of Baldwin out of turn number 2, and it looked like the 93 of Bloom actually hit the wall coming out of turn number 2. Murphy Jr. capitalizing on this side-by-side action behind him. And now Brian Bloom looks to the inside of Dalton Baldwin. Baldwin's going to swing high, and that opens the door for that 93 car to go around. No need to be aggressive. Baldwin playing it. The seasoned veteran, I'll tell you. Dalton Baldwin giving way just at this time. We've got 47 laps to go. No need to fight like it's the last lap. Anything can and probably will happen, as it already has here tonight. And as we talk about that right there, 74 of Vern Bradley is going to get a little bit loose and go down to that apron. Let's go look and take the replay here on Vern Bradley. Clay Dildine right behind him, Springer. So Dildine is going to tag the back end of Vern Bradley. Ostrander is going to come up and tag Dildine again into Vern Bradley, and Vern Bradley is going to get the spin out here and get sent down sideways enough for race control to throw out the yellow, even though he will get off the track in a hurry. And you can see him locking up the brakes, just trying to keep it from hitting the wall. Burning up the grip on those tires to save contact, and will it be enough? Oh, it doesn't look like it. He's getting closer, and boom! We got some contact with that inside. Luckily, there was a safer barrier there, but it is going to put some damage on that 74 car. So, the caution flag comes out for the 5th time here tonight, folks. This is the Wounded Warrior Cup Series, Anarchy Motorsports League this Tuesday night. Appreciate you tuning in to the Digital Forge Broadcast Network. We are under 45 to go. We come back, we got some more race action for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back to Kansas this Tuesday night. Light is off the pace car. Murphy Jr. to set the pace. He'll have the 53 of Tim Matthews to the outside. Number 4, Dalton Baldwin will be back. In that second row to the inside, we'll have the 93 of Brian Bloom to the outside. We'll be back green with 42 to go. Pace car set to go into the pits. And there it goes. The green flag's in the air, and here we go. they cross the start-finish line into turn number 1. Dalton Baldwin into the wall as he's trying to run that high groove. Murphy Jr., you've seen him progressively get a little bit lower and lower each time he goes through these turns. Not running quite the high line that he has been running, and it's been working well for him. But now, a tenth of a second behind him, the number 4 of Dalton Baldwin shoots down to that apron. Comes across the start-finish line, and look at him now, just under a tenth of a second behind the 48 of Glenn Murphy Jr. And you can see that 4-car matching the groove with the 48. What a battle. Again, folks, if you're just tuning in, the battle up front for the race lead now is the 48 car of Glenn Murphy Jr. in that Lowe's Chevrolet is second in points. 11 points behind Dalton Baldwin, who's now side by side with him into turn number 1. And there goes your series points leader. Oh, the crossover. Murphy Jr. tried the crossover and a little contact with Baldwin, and here comes Tim Matthews to capitalize on it. Oh, and a little bit of animosity between the race leaders. Murphy Jr. not too happy with Baldwin. Front end damage on that Lowe's Chevrolet, and Murphy Jr. is going to fall back. Philip Neese now up here in the top 5, but here comes Murphy Jr. rallying back to 3rd position. Take a look at the damage there on Dalton Baldwin. Brian Bloom back there in 2nd. See if we can give you a gyro cam. Take a look to the inside. We're on board with Brian Bloom here. You can just see that damage that Glenn Murphy Jr. did to Dalton Baldwin up there up front. Almost like a perfect V in the center of that bumper where the colors actually split. Take a look at Murphy Jr.'s hood there as we go back to 3rd position. Look how crinkled that hood is. Actually, we'll go back on board with Brian Bloom and show you the gearbox view. We'll take you back behind. This is behind Brian Bloom. As you see, Murphy Jr.'s hood is really damaged. Amazingly, the guy that took a lot of damage, Dalton Baldwin here, your series points leader, was just talking about it. 11 points ahead of Glenn Murphy Jr. is now taking the race lead. We've got 35 laps to go this time around. Dalton Baldwin picks up his 4th lap lead. And Glenn Murphy Jr. has bowed out of the race. His car went down pit road and he is not happy. Baldwin made the aggressive move in turns 1 and 2 and came right up in front of Glenn Murphy Jr. Murphy Jr. tried to miss him and got some contact. So we were getting word that Glenn Murphy Jr. was possibly looking at bowing out of the race, but he's going to stay in. He had made a motion like he was going to the pits, but he is back there in 3rd position, so maybe they were thinking there was some chatter on the race control that possibly Murphy Jr. possibly looking at getting out of the race, not too happy, but was told by his crew chief to stick with it, and he's currently sitting in 3rd. So great to see that Murphy Jr. now is rallying back towards the front as he's right behind the 93 of Brian Bloom. 53 of Tim Matthews has been fickle as far as up towards the race lead. He gets up there and gets loose, and gets up there and gets loose. Currently sitting in 4th position, that UK Chevrolet behind Murphy Jr. Oh, wow. That was a major wreck. Go back and follow. Let's go back with Tim Matthews here as we were following him live. See who that was in that wreck. Murphy Jr., you get a better look at the damage there on his hood. So the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz, look at that, he's going to go into the air. Murphy Jr. just plows right through him. That car is going to get hung up in the catch fence. Let's see if we can go back a little bit further and follow Schwartz. So we're going to follow Schwartz. Let's go to the gyro cam. Let's take you inside the cockpit of this guy's car. So he's going to get loose as we show you the in-car camera on the replay. It's going to be pretty wicked airtime this guy's going to get, the 58 Bass Pro Shops here. This couple laps back. And there it is. He's going to get loose and get sideways. It's going to come down to the apron, which just causes them to overcorrect. And as he does that, he's going to come back out onto the track, and this is where Glenn Murphy Jr. is just going to go plowing right through him as he goes sideways. There's the contact. There's some contact from another driver. See the damage there as we follow Schwartz here. If it tells you, this is a tell-all of tonight's events, folks. Started 8th. He's back in 19th position. That's just telling you how tough this track is to run. So here is Schwartz. As he comes away from the wall, this is where we're going to see the contact with Glenn Murphy Jr. here at the entrance to Turn 4. As we patiently wait for it. Remember, this is only a matter of a few seconds. So there they come by, and here comes Glenn Murphy Jr. And there, my goodness. So this is a perspective of a driver who gets some serious airtime. The gyro cam's going crazy. And that was the airtime that this guy saw here, Jonathan Schwartz. Wow. So Glenn Murphy Jr., we followed that airtime. Let's take a look at Glenn Murphy Jr.'s car as he has no front end remaining. Engine's able to stay intact, no smoke coming out of behind it. When cars get in this situation, this is where I like to call them a tour modified. Pretty much takes the whole front end and makes it open wheel. Take a look at that as he rolls by the start-finish line. A lot of damage on the front end of that 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. So just like Ryan Cobb, race director Ryan Cobb told us earlier, some things are going to happen. Some of the usuals are going to make their way to the front, and some of the unusuals, I guess you could call them. Some new names up front. Tim Matthews, Stuart Joyce up front here. And the lights are off that pace car. Pace cars into the pits. Joyce and Baldwin up front. Green flags in the air. Look at the battle between Stuart Joyce and Dalton Baldwin up front. As they go through turn number 1, Murphy Jr. has got a fast repair, and he is coming back with some vengeance to Dalton Baldwin. And right to the bumper he goes. Stuart Joyce capitalizing on this. Is out to almost a 0.3 of a second lead over the number 4 of Dalton Baldwin. Here they come down the front stretch. Murphy Jr. taking half a car to the apron as Joyce and Baldwin both went to the apron that time. Into turns 1 and 2. Look at the difference in grooves as Baldwin trying to keep as far away from that wall as possible. And now Murphy Jr. back there in 3rd position, and you can see a little bit of a net code crunch on the hood where he got into Baldwin. They all elect to take the apron here with 24 laps to go, and Baldwin trying to get up to that Ford Fusion of Stuart Joyce running that Cheetah. Bounty quicker picker-upper number 22. Quickly he picked up the lead. Was told earlier tonight by John Joyce, Stuart Joyce's father. Gentleman running back. Take a look through the list. Oh, he gets into the wall just a little bit. John Joyce in the 66 car currently running 15th position. We'll jump back and take a look. Right there is Stuart's father, John Joyce. Had a pleasure of talking with him earlier tonight. Said Stuart got his name. Oh, Baldwin into the wall, and he takes out Murphy Jr. with him. The drama continues to unfold here tonight. Oh, even there goes the 4 of Dalton Baldwin. A lot of damage sustained on that car. And here's the kicker to all of that drama. The yellow flag does not fly. Of all times you wanted it to fly, it's not going to go in the air. See if we can go back and take a look real quick on the replay. We saw Baldwin get into the wall. So right here, you're going to see Dalton Baldwin get into the wall of turn number 4. And he's just going to come straight down into Glenn Murphy Jr., who has nowhere to go.
All right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
So as we're watching this replay, the caution flag does fly. But take a look at that. Baldwin comes off the wall down into Murphy Jr., and they both are going to go down into the grass. I think Baldwin's going to get the brunt of the damage here. As you see, the rear end of that Toyota has a lot of damage. And look at the safety flaps coming up to slow him down. Murphy Jr. really is just going to get spun around. Wow. Drama definitely unfolding here tonight in Kansas for the Anarchy Motorsports Series. Quickly before we take a commercial break, I'll finish my sentence here while all that stuff unfolded. Stuart Joyce's great-grandfather, as we watch him now come down pit row, he fakes it out. Wow. What a fake out. This guy won't let me get a word in here, the picker-upper here. Stuart Joyce's great-grandfather won a race in Daytona back in 1939. Actually raced with Big Bill France, the gentleman who founded NASCAR. Won the race back there on Daytona Beach. A little historical fact there for your race leader currently with 19 laps to go. This is a very dramatic Wounded Warrior Cup Series this Tuesday night, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the Digital Forge Broadcast Network. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we will have some more race action for you as we're now under 19 to go. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Some noise. Gentlemen, start your engines.
AMSLeague.com is the premier iRacing league for action-packed racing from green to checkered. Prepare yourself to start every week right with the AMSLeague.com Wounded Warrior Project Cup Series, Tuesday nights at 9:20 Eastern Time, right here exclusively on the Digital Forge Broadcasting Network. You will not find a better connected oval league and community in the iRacing service. AMSLeague.com provides the highest level of competitive racing while holding true to our Have Fun First motto. Prepare yourself for the best Tuesday night oval racing on Sim Racing Earth at AMSLeague.com. Also, check out our Monday Night Truck Series and Wednesday IndyCar Series. And remember, you can watch all of our Wounded Warrior Project Cup Series races live, right here on the Digital Forge Racing Network. AMSLeague.com. A premier iRacing league with a great group of drivers.
Lights off the pace car. Welcome back to Kansas this Tuesday night. We are under 17 laps to go. It'll be 16 remaining when they cross that start-finish line as the green flag flies. Very dramatic night here indeed, and well put by race director Ryan Cobb. Guy who's been seeing it all here tonight. There's Dalton Baldwin getting the wave around. Pace car now taking them towards turn number 3. Pace car into the pits. Green flag's in the air. Here we go. 16 remain. So the caution flag's going to come out. And looks like Fred Scarfy is going to be involved in this one. From back the replay camera as they were coming down the back straightaway towards turn number 3 on this restart lap. Some 3 wide action there. And Conheady is going to get Scarfy loose. And Fred Scarfy in the 68 car going to go for a spin. That's Chevrolet SS. And look who's involved between Conheady and all this. Glenn Murphy Jr. John Ollis is coming down pretty quick too towards Thomas Conheady. And Murphy Jr. is going to hit some contact on that inside wall. How about that for multiples of numbers for your numbers guys? The 7 and the 14 able to escape inside contact, but the 48, a guy who was up in the race lead, as you see, 48 laps led. Again, numbers, folks. For you people out there who love to go up and draw up statistics and things that happen the way they do, the number 48, Glenn Murphy Jr., led 48 laps, and it's just been downhill for him ever since here in Kansas this evening. Fred Scarfy, as we see, take a look back further. A lot of damage sustained there after getting turned by Conheady. Front end collision into the outside wall, even though there was a safer barrier. Still sustained a lot of front end damage and engine damage, to say the least. So Stuart Joyce still up at the race lead. Total of 16 laps led for the 22. Just under 14 laps remain. Watching these guys pace. Take a look at the race statistics in your bottom left. 111 completed, now 112 completed. Out of the 125, just 13 laps to go. 9 lead changes, 10 total cautions. Your top 5 as it stands: Stuart Joyce, Tim Matthews, Brian Bloom, Craig Embry, and Nick Dykstra III. So hearing some chat out there in race around the YouTube chat. Cameron Hearn finally voices his opinion, and he's going to go possibly for Stuart Joyce or Brian Bloom. That being said, we got a guy out here, Rebel Bubba Gaming. Appreciate you tuning in. He's going to go with the 53 of Tim Matthews. So P1 and P3, Cameron Hearn says possibly going to take victory tonight. But they think Rebel Bubba thinks that the 53 of Matthews will go the distance if this thing finishes under green. As they cross that start-finish line, the lights come off that pace car. Tim Matthews will be to the inside as Stuart Joyce chooses the outside lane. Wise move here tonight as the high side has been working, gaining momentum, especially out of turn number 2. We'll have to see how that plays into his favor. He'll have Craig Embry behind him. Brian Bloom will start in that inside lane behind the 53 of Tim Matthews. Again, the wall camera is here tonight, brought to you by Ryan Eckstein. Always a pleasure to get some custom camera packages from this guy. Pace car taking them into turn number 3 now. It'll be 11 laps to go when the green flag gets back in the air. Stuart Joyce to set the pace. There goes the pace car. Green flag's in the air. We've got 11 laps. Another caution flag's going to come out. A lot of cars. Stuart Joyce able to keep the race lead. Wow, a lot of cars involved in that one. We'll follow the 16 of Lance Carpenter in that Pepsi Chevrolet. As you can see, he's gonna come into a storm of cars, as it looks like Philip Neese and the 83 are going to get loose and bundle up just a little bit. So Nick Dykstra will be spinning down the back straightaway. Dalton Baldwin able to get through it. There goes John Joyce through it. Clay Dildine, Mike Springer to the inside apron. Philip Neese, John Ollis is going to get collected up. Here comes Vern Bradley. He's going to get through it, and nobody there, so he's going to go smooth sailing. The cars are doing the waltz of the sugared plum fairies on the apron here, folks. We're following different cars down through here. Look at the damage on Conheady. Dykstra, Carpenter's car. There's Michael Tant. Now Kelly Blue Book will get towed back to the pits. And Nick Dykstra the third. All up in that. And Philip Neese still back up there to the top left of your screen. We're under 10 laps to go, folks. This is just going to get interesting. We'll see if we can have a green flag finish tonight. But this is the Wounded Warrior Cup Series here on the Digital Forge Broadcast Network. We'll take a short commercial break when we come back. The conclusion of tonight's race. Welcome back to Kansas. 6 laps will remain when the green flag flies. We'll see if this thing will end under green. The rate we've been going here tonight, it's possible. Tim Matthews, Stuart Joyce, The up front, Brian Bloom, Craig Embry rounding out your front four. There goes the pace car.
Green flag.
Green flag's back in the air, and Craig Embry. A little contact with Vern Bradley, and that is not going to bring out the yellow. Things are really... I don't even got the words. Probably the term I'm looking for is hectic. So it's 5 laps to go now as Stuart Joyce leads the pack into turn number 1, and Tim Matthews into the wall, going to get bumped by Dalton Baldwin. And here comes the 93 of Brian Bloom. So Stuart Joyce and Brian Bloom battle it out of turn number 4. 4 laps now remain. And with the way tonight's going, you just want to be out and leading, because at any moment that caution could come out, and that's going to seal the deal for whoever's out ahead. And Stuart Joyce picks up some time between him and the 93 of Bloom down the back straightaway towards turn number 3. Tim Matthews currently sitting in your top 5. There's David McMahon and Clay Dildine. Now 3 laps remain. Stuart Joyce trying to hold off a very race-hungry Brian Bloom behind him, guy who's led some laps here tonight. So Stuart Joyce has led 26 laps, Brian Bloom 27. And as they come out of turn number 4, Joyce looks to pick up number 27. And will do so as he crosses that start-finish line to the inside. Brian Bloom will take a very aggressive low line. It's going to get him loose, and he's going to lose a chance. And here comes David McMahon now. Stuart Joyce through turn number 4. Has daylight. White flag in the air for the 22. One more time to go for Stuart Joyce. He's got an 0.8 of a second lead over the 93. He just got to maintain it for one more lap. As he works his way through turns 3 and 4, here comes Stuart Joyce. And he will pick up the victory. And was told we were supposed to have fireworks yet again. And we get denied here tonight. What the heck is up with that? No fireworks. Here at Kansas, we got you the beautiful blimp view. And not really seeing any fireworks out there. So we do apologize for that view. Wow. But there is your race winner. 29 total laps led for the 22, and he led the most important one, the last lap, to the checkered flag. Will pick up the victory. So another Bounty quicker picker-upper pun picks up the victory tonight in that Ford Fusion, the number 22 of Stuart Joyce. Burning off every bit of grip on those tires as possible. A difficult night in a hard-fought battle for the field. And a very happy Stuart Joyce. So we are going to look to get you some driver interviews. We try to get the drivers here rallied up. It'll be David McMahon coming in third place tonight. A very interesting finish for that gentleman in the Dr. Pepper Toyota Camry. Not sure we're going to have McMahon on the line. Not really seeing him. See if we can get him. Looks a little encumbered at the moment. We'll see if we can get him on the line for you, folks. He runs that 23 Toyota Camry that has the Dr. Pepper logo on it. See if we can go live to David McMahon for the third place finish here tonight at Kansas. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties here. Maybe celebrating too hard there. All right, so we'll have to come back possibly to him, but let's go to a second place finisher here tonight after a hard-fought battle. The 93, Mr. Brian Bloom. You finish 27 total laps led here tonight. Very, very aggressive move into turns 1 and 2. Got really loose there towards turn 2. Had cost you pretty much a chance at racing Stewart down to the finish. Take us through that lap and the decision to go really aggressive into turn 1.
Yeah, well, I knew I was a little bit better than him through the center off, so I just tried getting in there a little bit harder. Just because going down the front straight, I mean, I was right there and got in the corner instead of hitting the clutch. I hit the brake and it kind of screwed me all up getting in.
And it definitely pretty much solidified Stuart Joyce's win here tonight, but you do hold it together quite impressively as you had a nice little gap between you and McMahon. So you're able to pick up second place here tonight at Kansas. It was probably a really tough track to run. Your car, though, overall didn't look too affected as some of these other guys getting really loose. So, just one of those things. It was a hard-fought battle you had to go through. Is there any key notable points that you want to tell us about on handling, tire wear, or overall strategy here at Kansas?
Biggest thing was really just keeping it up off the wall. Just being real smooth on the throttle and trying to save your stuff. In the beginning there, I kind of let everyone go, just try to see how everything was going to, iron out with the tires and everything. And, as we got there towards the end, save the stuff for the end and get after it.
All right. Well, congratulations again picking up second position. Is there any shout out you'd like to give for your runner-up finish tonight?
I'd just like to thank everyone for watching the race tonight and hope you guys will tune in next week. Thanks.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week at the Monster Mile. Brian, appreciate your time.
Thanks, you too.
There you go, folks. Your second place finisher here tonight, Brian Bloom in the 93 car. Going to go live to your race winner tonight, the hard-fought battle. Trials and tribulations and a few cautions here plague the 22 Bounty Quicker Picker-Upper Ford Fusion of Stuart Joyce. And Stuart, what better way for that Bounty car to pick something up than actually pick up a win. So congratulations to you on that. How do you feel?
Hey, man, I feel great. I really appreciate it. About 20 to go, I made at the time I thought was a gutsy call to stay out on old tires and in the lead, and it turns out 7 other guys, I think, behind me stayed out, so I knew that anybody with fresh tires was going to be way back there, so I just stayed out and kept selecting the outside line and got some good restarts and had a few cautions work my way there. And the way this track is, you got to pretty much pass somebody on the high side, or the low side's pretty loose, tight depending on how you enter the turn, and just wasn't able to be done. So just worked my way up to the front and pulled a little strategy. Also took 2 tires on my previous stop, so my left sides are pretty wore out.
Well, there's a lot of congratulations coming out of the YouTube chat for you. Said you're a guy that's been racing fast all year, been plagued by a little bit of bad internet connections from time to time, but very deserving win here tonight in Kansas. Next week we go into the Monster Mile at Dover. What's that hold for the 22 team?
Yeah, we'll find out. I think I got the internet connection under control. Also plagued by some video card blackouts, which have been taking away a few good finishes. So I think I should be up somewhere toward the front, but it's probably not my best track, but not my worst either. So you never know. A few good strategy plays, a few good rolls of the dice, and maybe see me again in victory lane.
All right. Well, is there any final shout-outs you'd like to give before we let you go tonight?
Yeah. Just like to thank my family, and like to thank Bounty for their quality sponsorship this year, and Tim Matthews for racing me clean at the end there. And like to thank all the admins and the drivers at AMS for everything they do, and Cameron for footing the bill on the broadcast this year. Really appreciate that, and really appreciate you and your broadcast.
All right. Well, congratulations to you tonight, Stuart, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week going into the Monster Mile.
Hey, thanks. Take care.
Well, there you have it, folks. Your race winner tonight, the 22 Ford Fusion with the Bounty logo on the hood, the cheetah print all over the car. Stuart Joyce picks up a well-deserved win here in Kansas. Let's take a look at the final race statistics. In your bottom left, out of the 125 completed, matching lead changes with cautions, 11 in each category. Very, very tough night, to say the least. Final results on your screen. Stuart Joyce picks up victory. Brian Bloom. It's a hard night for me, too. Brian Bloom, after a very aggressive move in turn 1, will finish out second. David McMahon, Clay Dildine, Tim Matthews rounds out your top 5. John Ollis, Dalton Baldwin, Thomas Conetti, John Joyce, father to Stuart Joyce, finishes 9th. And Mike Springer rounds out your top 10. Moving on through, Craig Embry, Chris Ostrander, Michael Tant, Philip Neese, Nick Dykstra III rounds out 15, Lance Carpenter, Vern Bradley, Fred Scarfy, Glenn Murphy Jr., tough night for another car that's led a lot of laps, will finish 19th, and Jonathan Swartz rounds out the top 20. Kevin Trzynski, Scott Tucker, Cameron Hearn, and John Henry Allen rounds out your fielded grid. Tim Sandlin and Jesse Johnson showed up for autographs. Was not able to make it to the grid, but your race director, give a big shout out to the 51 of Ryan Cobb, keeping these guys in line in a heavy-filled caution night here at Kansas. We will be back live Friday night for the Super Speedway Showdown Series conclusion at Daytona, the Xfinity cars, as 3 leagues battle it out. KMA, Loose Lug Nuts, and TWCVM. You definitely want to tune in for that, folks. But that will do it for us here tonight. I'm Dustin Caldwell saying thanks for tuning in to the Digital Forge Broadcast Network, and we'll see you Friday night.